This game is over, and you can doubt the Chiefs. You can dislike the Chiefs. You can disrespect the Chiefs. You're going to have to deal with the Chiefs being the AFC champions for the 4th time in 5 seasons. The Chiefs have the Lamar Hunt Trophy, and they're taking it to Vegas for Super Bowl 58.
What is going on, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to another episode of The Kingdom Says. I am your host, as always, Garrett Williams, and I am joined by my 2 usual co-hosts tonight. We've got Kyle Henning on the top right of the screen if you're watching us on YouTube. Kyle, how are you doing tonight, sir?
It's a good day. It's been a good start to the week. We got off to a good end to Sunday, which led into a very good Monday, which leads into a good Tuesday. And another couple weeks to talk to you fellas about this team playing a football game. So,
Yeah, it's a good night. It's a good night in Chiefs Kingdom. Join us as well, Arrowhead Tom. Tom, how are we doing tonight, sir?
You know, a couple of weeks ago, I think even the title of our episode was "Playing with House Money." Boys, we put it on black. We're going to Vegas with that house money. We're riding the wave. We are going to Vegas, and that's the best kind of trip you can make. You got so I am as good as anybody else in Chiefs Kingdom right now. Holy cow, we have so much to talk about. A lot of great news, a lot of good things. More football to talk about. The season's not over.
Season is not over. It is
coming up red. A lot of things coming up red, like jerseys with 1,000 patches on them.
Yeah, 1,000 patches.
Yeah. It's very crazy to sit here tonight and say that the 2023 Kansas City Chiefs football team is going to the Super Bowl. It is very surreal. This one feels so much different than the last 3 Super Bowl appearances. Because if you're keeping count at home, that is 4 Super Bowl appearances in the last 5 years for the Kansas City Chiefs.
4
Absolutely
in 5.
Unreal.
4 in 5 years.
That'll be talked about. But this one, it's such a crazy feeling being here. We talked pre-show, sitting there Christmas Day watching the Raiders just absolutely manhandle this team and do like it was bad. It was a very low point. And the resurgence, the comeback, just the turnaround that this team has seen from the regular season till now, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy that the Chiefs are once again going to the Super Bowl. And it wasn't easy, obviously, having to beat the Ravens at home in Baltimore for the AFC Championship, the first time in
bank heist. What? No,
bank heist. Yeah,
no, nobody do no bank robberies or anything. We do not condone bank robbery.
Listen, I am a certified super fan, so
Jesus Lord,
Tom would know. Super fan to super fan. If you
I love how they called you the super fan, even though you're just the one recording that video and not actually the one like.
Maybe they thought you should just pass it off as you. We could have added a beard post and then you'd been good. But it was a heck of a game in Baltimore, the first AFC Championship in 6 years that hasn't been hosted in Kansas City. So that was
how'd that turn out? They really should just, whether it's here, there, doesn't matter.
Hey guys, Patrick Mahomes is 2-0 in road games in the playoffs. So are we good on that narrative?
Yeah, but has he won a road game while literally on fire and only playing left-handed with a blindfold on and against 2 teams instead of 1? No, he hasn't. So
could he do it if there was 1 versus 11 though?
Yeah, could he do it of all time?
Yeah, oh God, we're gonna
the narratives that have been silent. I mean, this year especially like we said, the lows that the Chiefs were at this season, a lot of takes were had, and by us too. I mean, we are definitely not innocent of some bad takes. There might have been a little bit of doubt and in some of our heads. I'm not going to name any names.
It's been a long
I wasn't spending a lot of time on mock drafts. I was going to spend that time anyways. So
he was going to do that anyways. That's fair to him. But
I spent a lot of time on this show and on Twitter reminding everybody that this team won a Super Bowl 11 months ago, and now,
you Here
now
we
we
are.
have a chance to do something. So it was all house money and everything till now.
Yeah. Well.
Until now.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
and I'm sure we'll talk about this more next week. But it's one of those legacy moments, right? Going back to back, it's a big deal. Not a lot of teams, not a lot of players in NFL history have done it.
Yeah. The run that the Chiefs are on and what Patrick Mahomes is doing, it's obviously it's going to be talked about for a while going forward as far as just the historical aspect of it. But as far as the game itself, it definitely felt like a game that the Chiefs obviously had been in many times previously, whereas the Baltimore Ravens had not been. And it kind of showed up. I think that kind of was a big factor of the game that definitely benefited the Chiefs. It was.
Look, man, this was the old guard that has been there, and this sounds stupid because they have like the youngest team in the league, one of the youngest teams in the league, and I think the youngest defense in the league right now by age group with the Chiefs, or close to it.
Yeah, I think the Packers. No, I think we probably got beat. Yeah, we're pretty up there.
Well, now there's only 2 teams left, so.
But regardless, like that was the case throughout the year as well. And yet this is the team that has the experience, that understands what it's like to play in the big games, to do this stuff. They were the team that didn't come out with too much energy and do a whole litany of really stupid things. Just like
that was,
and we've seen that before as Chiefs fans in eras past, in playoff games in eras past, where they've lost games they should have won because they had never been there before and came out too jacked up and fell apart. Like
didn't headbutt anybody or shove somebody after the play, or
I think though the place that it was most glaring of who had been there and done it before and who hadn't. Don't get me wrong, Harbaugh has been there and done it plenty, and he's a good head coach. Harbaugh doesn't call the offensive plays or the defensive plays for the Baltimore Ravens. And Todd Monken had a really, really long day. And Andy Reid did not make friends with Mike McDonald in the first half of that game. And frankly, most of the second half either, because, and we'll get to it, but they pretty much controlled that. They just kind of gas pedaled as much.
Very controlled,
So,
we'll dive into it, but definitely
the coaching staffs for me is where that level varied, which we talked about before the game. So,
I mean, coaching staffs definitely played a very big factor into it. Obviously, Andy Reid being a 2-time Super Bowl winner, Spags having 3 in his bag. It mattered. You could definitely see the experience difference, and just it was a really good showing from both units. We'll break it down kind of throughout the game of how it went down. Starting with obviously kind of the start of the game, which was about as good as you can get for the Chiefs. We defer, the Ravens get the ball first, and then good 3 and out. And early on you can kind of see the dwindlings of what the control was like during this game, because it definitely seemed like early on the Chiefs had the Ravens number, especially that first drive, really shutting down. They tried to establish the run. That's going to be one of the bigger obviously storylines of the Ravens offense, is they kind of got away from the run game, which they only had like 6, I think, rushing attempts from running backs or something crazy like that throughout the whole game.
They gave up on the run fast.
That's correct.
But,
and
the thing about it though is they did not, the first 2 plays I think were 2 run plays, and they both got stuffed like pretty well. Like, and every
they
rush,
had a couple of big runs that Gus ripped off like a 15-yard chunk. But anyway, the point of the start of the game was, yes, they did not. If you could have written a worse script for Baltimore to come out with, I would have challenged you to write it, because Chiefs win coin toss, defer 3 and out is not is not good for everybody's nerve level.
That's pretty. Yeah, that's a good tone
Not how
setter
they
right
want it
there.
to go.
No, because how many times? Because they've heard the narratives, they know where they can't beat this team. Because if they get behind, they can't keep up, and if this team can't play. Lamar's heard that his whole career, right? Ravens have heard this forever when they play us. This is the same song and dance. So when the game starts out, 3 and out, Chiefs ball. Oh crap! Here they go.
Yep. Well, and so here's a thought that, as you kind of look back at it, the Chiefs have not had Willie Gay for 2 weeks now, a little bit over that, and he's that guy who does a lot of spying, and they talked about that. They talked about oh hey, they're going to go bigger in the linebacker, and I wonder if on the Ravens side they were trying to maybe exploit that a little bit, and that maybe backfired because I think what people forget. Even though Leo is a bigger guy, he's a good athlete. And the problem with it has always been more to do with, I don't even want to say his instincts, but there's been room to grow there. And then also he does get a little bit stiff, like side to side. That linebacking core, Drew Tranquil included, they played lights out. And I think that the Ravens were thinking they could exploit hey, they're not going to have their best coverage backer. We can get a little way with a lot of these passes. Nope, you cannot. Surprise! Okay.
So
Turns out they've got depth there.
Here's how it started. To Garrett's point, 1st and 10 from the Baltimore 25. Justice Hill right in for a yard.
Yeah,
stellar. 2nd and 9. Lamar Jackson scrambles 2 yards.
right.
3rd and 7. Incomplete. Punt.
Yeah, so they kind of tried to stick to the game plan early. I mean, they definitely attempted the run, and like someone said, Gus Edwards sprung a big run off for like
about 15,
16 yards, and then like Lamar Jackson, the play before that, had a big run that sprung for like 20, 30 yards or something like that. And then after that, they never ran the ball again, which was kind of they had
Lamar
2 uber successful run plays, and then they just never ran it again after that. It was very interesting.
So here's
was that Lamar running the 4th and 1?
Yeah. 21 yards on the touchdown drive. Yes, the running backs didn't really have a part in the touchdown drive either.
That's true.
So what I was gonna say. And here's I think partially why. I think they changed their game plan. I hope they changed their game plan because they ran the ball, as Garrett stated, 6 times from a running back. If that was your game plan from the beginning of the game,
yeah, I saw some people kind of thinking like maybe because that kind of was a theme a little bit throughout the Ravens season this year, where they really were trying to put the emphasis on the fact that Lamar Jackson, was a passer. Yeah, could throw, had the passing stats and all that stuff.
That's great, but against the team whose run defense has been meh, and whose pass defense has been Superman.
Yeah. Definitely questionable
decisions. So, but here's part of the problem. Patrick started absolutely in fuego, and the offense was off and running because after the 3 and out I mentioned, Mahomes went Kelsey for 4, Mahomes went Pacheco for 10, then he went to Rasheed for 11, then he scrambled for 12, then he got Clyde for a yard, Pacheco for 7.
Of course, Clyde for a yard.
And Pacheco for 7, then Pacheco for no gain. So,
yeah, but he's 7. He had 7-4.
Mahomes short middle to Kelsey on the scramble over the which. All right.
Oh.
How many throws? how many throws from this Sunday alone get added to the reel that is getting to be extraordinarily long of his highlight tape at the top 50? Because there were probably, for normal humans, there were probably 7 or 8 throws in that game that you would put on someone's top 50 plays of all time list.
Yeah.
I think because his list looks like it does, there's probably only 3.
Yeah.
But I
that
also
one
want people
the
to
diving
remember
Kelsey
that
one.
this is the best defense in history, according to DVOA,
Yeah.
or one of them.
That
And
was, they
according
were
to a
top
lot of
DVOA.
people,
Yeah.
that Ravens team is one of the best teams in history, according to a lot of metrics and things and whatnot.
According to the stats.
They proceeded to then continue after the circus throw to Kelsey, which Travis
Yeah.
one-on-one with anybody, guys. I
We
don't
talked
care if
about
it's
it.
a
We
corner.
talked-
I don't
yeah.
care if it's a safety. I don't care if it's the best safety you think you've seen in 20 years. It doesn't matter. Even at 34.
Yeah, Charles
Sorry.
Goldman said it on the show last week. If Kyle Hamilton's matched up 1v1 versus Kelsey like
They're
that,
gonna throw it to him.
it's gonna, and to Kyle Hamilton's point, or to Kyle Hamilton's credit, he played really well that game. And he's probably one of the few reasons why that game actually wasn't a blowout, because
Kyle Hamilton was a victim on the first drive, sir.
Yeah.
And it's not like I'm saying that to discredit Kyle Hamilton's play. Kyle Hamilton got victimized because Kyle Hamilton was in perfect coverage. And I
it
mean
happened to be a
perfect.
even more perfect throw and catch.
Kelsey was wearing Kyle Hamilton like a shirt and still made that catch. Okay?
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do as a defensive back. What? You just go,
Yeah.
all right, like, okay, you win. Sorry.
Yeah, you got one that one.
So
you got me on that one. Yeah.
That's how that drive ends, is a 19-yard dart to the corner of the end zone on a back shoulder ball where Kyle Hamilton is he's basically got a hold of Travis's arms at one point during the play.
It don't matter.
And then all of a sudden, Travis is laying in the end zone with the football, and Kyle Hamilton's going, "How did that happen?"
Yeah, it was very obvious after the Chiefs' first offensive drive that they seem to be rolling down the field a lot more methodically than the Ravens might be.
Baltimore comes out, and the next drive they score a touchdown. They don't feel as comfortable about it because
kind of a fluky touchdown. What was the touchdown again? They got it was
that was the deep ball that
I mean, it was a great play by Lamar. Let's not take away where
Leo missed on a tougher play coming around the edge. He went a little high on Lamar.
We had him. He just
ducked him and slipped out, and then at that point, and by the way, people, and I think I was guilty at one point, Willie was not in coverage there. Willie was just trying to help at that point. Yeah, sorry, Nick Bolton. Nick Bolton was not in coverage on Zay Flowers there. That was not the call defense. He was just running to catch the guy at that point. That wasn't his guy. So,
but definitely not the situation, especially so far after like the snap. It's very hard to cover that long.
It also took the 4th and 21 play, or the 21-yard play on 4th and 1 that Tom mentioned, for that to even happen on that drive.
And I think it was Bobby Stroop who Stroop. Is it Stroop or Stroop? Stroop.
I believe it's Stroop.
Yeah, Bobby Stroop had tweeted out after that drive. It's like the Chiefs' touchdown drive, like methodical, very cohesive, whereas the Ravens' first touchdown drive, it was kind of two big fluky plays. A missed. Just like, and I even tweeted like, hey, if it takes a missed sack and Nick Bolton covering Zay Flowers 30 yards downfield for them to score a touchdown, I'm feeling pretty confident still about this defense.
Well, and the other thing, like, we know that the refs were there to help the Chiefs, and they let the Chiefs' offensive line hold the defensive tackle on the touchdown pass, or on that 4th and 21 run. Oh wait, no, that was the.
That was the Ravens grabbing, I believe, Nick Bolton on that play when he was coming.
No, it was Turk Wharton who got held.
So there were multiple holds in that first drive, but
But you don't complain about the refs when you win a game.
So
that is true. That is true.
The thing that was the finisher to that point was the immediate 16-play touchdown drive that followed from the Chiefs. And
just another one.
And I mean, it started at the 4.5-minute mark of the first quarter, and it didn't end until midway through the second. Yeah,
it was like a 9-minute touchdown drive, which they said on the broadcast is actually the longest one of the season for the Chiefs. The longest drive of the season.
16 plays, 75 yards, 9 minutes and 2 seconds.
And
And
it's
then
funny
it just
'cause-
honestly, even though there was a lot of game left after, it felt like, and there were some moments, there was some drama, right? You felt like
yeah,
Well,
maybe after a couple of plays by Zay Flowers had a good game and all that, but there's that big pass to him, and of course the penalty but it felt like,
so
and you just said it earlier, one team had been there and one team hadn't, and you could tell which one had and which one hadn't.
So what felt like the big problem was is what you're getting at is the next drive when Charles Omenihu strip sacks Lamar Jackson, and everything feels like the game is going the wrong way for Baltimore.
Mhm.
Oh, now Lamar's been strip sacked, and we haven't been able to stop the Chiefs. Well, they get the turnover on downs by the Chiefs on the next play on the next drive, but that was again felt more fluky than Baltimore caused, right? So
Mhm.
at that point, that's the start of this game, and this script is oddly familiar to ones they've dealt with before that didn't end well. And the difference this time was the defense. But Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes took the beginning of this game, and then throughout the latter half of this game just decided it was over. They went out and got enough to start with, and then just controlled it and squeezed the life out of this game.
Yeah, they definitely had a phenomenal start to the game, that offensive performance. Travis Kelce breaking Jerry Rice's playoff reception record, which was
wild.
awesome to see. It kind of got overshadowed, though, by the moment, because that was
doesn't even make
on
sense.
that drive that was the turnover where they had a 4th and 1 and didn't convert it. But still was a massive highlight to the day.
Make sense. It does not. It does not compute. Like that Jerry Rice's postseason records are being touched makes no sense.
Well, and let's put that again. Travis got here at the same time as Andy Reid. He's made the playoffs all but 1 year in his career, right? But it's not like every year was a deep playoff run. It was 2015 before the Chiefs won a playoff game. That first one after there was a little long spell, and then there were a couple years of one and done. There were a couple years of we didn't see a Super Bowl for.
There's a reason they didn't keep Alex Smith, guys.
And then on top of that, you spend a couple years getting the 1 seed and you get a bye week. Like he hasn't, volume of games. I don't know. I don't have it in front of me, and maybe look it up. How many playoff games Jerry Rice played in versus how many Travis has actually played in? Somebody, you're going to Google that right now, Kyle.
Yeah, I got it.
That probably is going to be. I'm going to guess that there's a pretty big gap in those numbers. I could be wrong, but I'm going to guess there's a pretty big gap, and it's going to add some context that's going to make us go, wait a minute. So tell me I'm wrong. You're both looking at it right now.
Jerry has. Where is his?
I found it. It's Jerry had 29 games, 151 receptions, 2,200 receiving yards. Kelce has 21 games, 156 receptions, 1,800 receiving yards. So Jerry still got him on yards, but he has 8 more games played them, and
he's got 8 more games
more receptions. Yeah,
to get it. So
pretty good. Yeah.
And that's your tight end, kids, not a wide receiver. And by the way, for all the people that want to talk about his blocking, they used him a lot in chip, in block, in the run game, in multiple facets. Again, this game, at his age, he's doing everything still, and he always has. He just doesn't get talked about because he absolutely destroys people when he catches the football.
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't know one day people will look back and understand how great Travis Kelce was. I don't feel like we are.
The only people that don't are the people that still live in Boston.
Do what?
They all live. All the people that don't live in Boston.
Yeah, all the people don't live in. But no, because I think even right now there's this little. I mean, because the Chiefs are kind of the new Patriots, and the whole Taylor Swift thing, and a lot of.
He's definitely the pretty villain. He's definitely the pretty villain right now. But they're loving to build on it.
There's a lot of guys who got
Especially Dayton
rejected by the
Taylor.
homecoming
That's like a
queen
whole.
who
That's a
went
whole
to-
new fan base of hate because he's Dayton Taylor. Like.
Yeah. There's a whole new like I said, a bunch of guys in their mom's basement who probably don't even watch football. In fact, I watched a clip today, talking about Travis Kelce and being a glorified lineman. Tight ends aren't even famous. Anyways, we're not going to get into all that. But there's like a whole group of people who just hate him just on the principle of he's dating Taylor Swift. I think there's a group of lesbians that are angry at him. I don't know. There's just a lot lot of people.
It's very obvious.
Anybody
if
that hates
someone-
Pfizer is mad at him. Anybody
Yeah.
that hates.
It should just be said that if anyone does not think that he is the greatest tight end by this point in time, then you definitely are just telling on yourself that you don't know ball. Unfortunately, you have exposed yourself that you don't know ball. Sorry about it, but you're wrong.
Yeah,
So
it's just how it is. He's dominant. So also he played over 80% of the snaps on offense again. So
yeah, he was looking real fresh. I mean, he's looked fresh this entire playoff run, really, which is
and he's gonna look fresher because you know what he has to get ready for the next game he plays in? A full 2 weeks.
yeah, and he doesn't have to deal with all this
he's gonna be on
cold
tour
weather
all week.
anymore. He can go to sunny Las Vegas. It's going to be like 75 for the week of the Super Bowl, so it's going to be nice.
I'm sure you guys saw the clip, after the game. Travis said, I could do this another 11 years. I love this.
11 years,
Makes me feel young again. And we're all just going, please.
Please, 11 years. Yeah. Please.
Whatever you got to do, homie. Hang out with Bobby a little more during the off season, I think, maybe to make that a little easier on yourself too. I don't. Whatever.
Yeah.
Well, and of course,
whatever youth fountain that everybody.
It works on Pat. You got them.
Yeah.
You got that liability.
Ability to pirouette out of
Old
That-
Gumby.
tackles.
He posted a clip of a workout that they do on purpose, and it looks the friggin' same.
Yeah, that's like the best. That was like the best marketing video right there ever for him.
He had that in his draft saved.
Yeah, he had that thing ready. Yeah.
He's like, Pat, I'm gonna need you to just next time you get tackled, just bend this way.
Get out of it.
Yep.
Also,
Find the perfect angle. Yep.
hey, wait a minute. Isn't that a 15-yard penalty?
Well,
No.
yeah,
He hit him in the legs. He hit him below the. That's the Tom Brady penalty that exists because Bernard Pollard turned Tom Brady's kneecap into Oregon.
dog Bernard Pollard. Yeah.
Yeah, like the only reason that we wanted to do the ref thing. I don't want to do the ref thing, but that's kind of the point. Is for all the
refs missed a lot.
They missed a ton again. That's why the stuff they did call was the really blatant stuff, which is what we asked them to do. So if they do that, don't get mad at them for actually doing what we want them to do. Call the blatantly stupid stuff.
I will say,
God.
I'm going to say two things and we'll move on from ref. One, the tripping on Chris Jones in the end zone to me is a big one.
That's a safety.
Because
that's
a
point.
From a player safety standpoint, that's a very dangerous play to get away with.
And it's points.
It's points, but from a player standpoint, it's a very, very
slow to get up after that.
For both Chris Jones and for the running back, that is a very quick way to tear somebody's ACL
or get a leg broken.
Yeah, blow up their knee one way or another, like real quick.
Yeah,
so,
and he definitely threw his leg out.
That's one that I want called more than not. To any Ravens fans who may come across this, here's my advice: don't complain about the refs because you don't want to take 2 L's in 1 week. And that's what so many of you have done this week on Twitter with your screenshots. And then it's just been like, well, it's been very demonstrable. And a lot of them, you don't have good arguments. It was like
some of you were screenshotting accurate penalties and trying to pretend that they're not. Like, can we stop with this?
Yeah. Some of you are exposing yourselves, with look, pass interference.
And it's not just Ravens fans. It's a whole lot of anybody that doesn't like Kansas City right now that is telling on themselves publicly, by the way. I just want to be clear about that, too.
And corners can hand fight downfield as long as they're not, impacting each other's, like impacting the ability for the receiver to run his route or, make a play on the ball. It is not untypical to see,
also,
some touching.
Yeah,
It's a
also
contact
like
sport.
every single one of those Lamar Jackson deep balls was like 5 yards overthrown. I mean, he wasn't even close on most of those
Yeah,
deep balls.
it would
It's
be
like,
catchable
sorry,
if his
guys.
receiver was 7-1.
Yeah, it's like
Guys.
sorry, those are you're not even close.
I mean,
Like, come on.
but are we surprised? Where did he throw the ball? If you're gonna turn Lamar into a drop back passer, Todd Monken, where is he supposed to throw the football? Between the numbers. If he's gonna play drop back quarterback the way the defense wants him to, where does he throw the football? Outside the numbers. Where did Lamar throw the football this entire game?
Outside the numbers.
Outside the numbers.
Look at that. Look at that. Spags in his bag once again. There you go. Dose-a-do.
So, should we talk about Spags' magical bags?
Yeah, should we flip to the
Might
defense?
reside between his legs at this point.
I don't want to finish the offensive stuff just yet because there's two people that we have not talked about on the offensive side of the football that definitely deserve being discussed, because one of them has not played much this season, stepped in, and you did not say his name at all, and it was fantastic. Nick Allegretti was beyond good. He was phenomenal.
Yep.
Against a guy that was supposed to whoop his behind, according to everybody under the sun.
Mm-hmm. No, Nick is a dog. Straight
Nick
up.
Allegretti stepped in and said,
It's really cool to see
mine.
excelling, especially the interview after the game that he had. Like, it's real easy dude to root for.
Getting ready to say that.
Yeah.
If you have not seen it, Harold Kuntz, our friend of the show, friend of the program, friend of everyone in Kansas City. Harold's a super nice dude from all accounts and every interaction I've had with him. Head over to his Twitter page. He has the interview on the field with Nick. It's a great interview. Show Nick some love. That dude was
stepping up when you need to. That's why.
Yeah. And they may need him again.
Yeah. They might.
They may need him again.
Quietly though, this is a contract year for Nick, so definitely show some love to that kid. Because because last year he signed a 1-year deal. I'm gonna guess it's not gonna happen again. I'm gonna get. I hope he's back. I hope that he finished. I hope he's a Chief for life. But I would guess that some team's gonna try to grab him.
He can be a starting. Like I think we talked about it last week with Charles. Like he could be a starting guard for at least half the NFL teams. Yeah, easily.
Yeah. And he's by all accounts a great dude.
Really good dude. Smart football player. Yeah.
Went to the U of I. I've never
Charles
met him, but I've got some mutual connections who have
Oh,
always
boy.
spoke very high of him. So
Twins, I believe he had twins
who did?
recently.
Oh,
Gretty
yeah.
had twins recently,
Oh.
which is why they didn't want to move. He had
Shout
like
out.
2-month-old twins during free agency last year, so they didn't want to move with the kiddos being that new.
Yeah.
Either
Well,
twin
I hope
or a newborn.
I hope
one of
his
the two.
wife is pregnant again and we can keep him. Just
Right.
I hope we Philip Rivers this situation
Yeah.
and he never goes anywhere.
Otherwise, he's
'Cause,
probably
he-
going to the Bears.
His salary was like $2.5 million or whatever. So
Yeah. So shout out for him stepping up. I definitely recognized him a couple times in the game, making some big blocks.
the only time you did
touchdown
see him
run.
was good things. Never bad.
Yeah.
Never mentioned his name for the. It used to be offensive lineman only got the name in the paper when they messed up, right, Tom? That was the old joke.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So-
Well, hold on, because we talked earlier about the play with Travis and Mahomes. You know that if you go back and watch that, Allegretti, that is offensive lineman 101. Like there's an O line coach. I guarantee you, Andy Heck's got that. You know, to show because the effort he has on extending that play and just going, and he does a perfect job because at one point the defender like spins around and gives up his back.
Yeah.
And Allegretti puts his hands in a place where he's not going to get called for the hold, and then readjusts and gets the guy. It was beautiful.
So
He was blocking that kid for the whole play, and
that tape is going to go right.
Very moment.
That tape is going to go right next to Trey Smith's tape from this game where he was just demolishing dudes. So much.
Yeah. I am a little bit worried that Trey Smith is going to miss the Super Bowl because he's going to be probably incarcerated for murder. You can't do that on live television and get away with it. Trey, what were you thinking, man?
He took that DB and just ejected him out the club with no regard for his life or soul or any of the man's family watching. The linebacker was one thing. He was whooping them up so bad. He made Roquan Smith tee off and take a crazy free shot on him for a penalty for when they were trying. They were intentionally trying to be offsides, The 15
Right.
yards
Then,
because
I remember that. That was a
Roquan
weird.
so mad at Trey Smith. He just took the extra shot.
Yeah,
He's like,
Because Trey was destroying them.
that was definitely a weird, interesting little strategy they had to end
And-
the game there. I guess. It kind of worked almost.
The call for the hold.
Yeah, on to wipe out. I mean, he had two back to back.
That's
Both of them.
That's a touchdown.
Yeah, two back to back phantom holding calls. The first one was bad. The second one was just real. I mean, that one was just like actually just not even
That's
Trey's
teach
had a
tape.
couple
That
of those this
is
year.
screen release teach tape. Offensive
that's
line
literally
coach
what
teach tape.
100 times. Like that happens 100 times a game. Like,
When Warren Sapp and defensive players across the league are like, "What
My
the
God.
f- was that? What? No,
yeah, that one was really bad.
that's
And-
4 points
Yeah,
that they
took off a
didn't get
touchdown. Yeah,
for that. Also, so now how many points is that have directly been removed due to officiating? Either
Well, the 2 points by the
Calls or no
for the
calls.
safety.
that's 6. This game wasn't nearly as close as it looks on the scoreboard.
yeah. Before we close out the offense, obviously we have to shout out the guy at the end of it, who stepped up, made the play when it counted. MBS, the deep ball.
I was gonna make you guys do this part because I've been mostly nice to him all year, even though
Tom, any words to say about our guy MBS, who we've supported ad nauseum throughout this entire season without fault?
Yeah, never
definitely
once,
no issues ever, never had anything.
never once have we doubted him. Have we been excited about the idea of him getting cut in the offseason and the, $11 million in cap room and what we can do with that? Or definitely don't look at draft prospects with like a PTSD almost like effect because you're afraid of drafting guys who are too,
MBS
thinly
like.
framed and remind you too much of him. As somebody who has been unwavering in his support of MBS, it was good to finally see. I think it's really good to see that Pat finally trusts him on the same level that Garrett and I do, because we've been talking about it. Just gotta trust him, man.
Yeah.
You just gotta keep throwing it to him.
Have to
It'll work
keep
out
it
eventually.
Just keep throwing the ball. That's actually what I said.
Y'all didn't
Yeah.
want
So I
to
guess
trust him
I'm
with
gonna
the
guess
car
Pat was
keys,
probably
let alone.
listening.
Yeah, I actually said
probably
the first
listening
time.
to some of the podcasts, and
Right.
he must have listened. And he said,
Yeah.
"You know what? That Tom guy, that Garrett guy, they've got a point. Maybe I'll just."
Yeah, we actually told Pat to say like, hey, just keep throwing it. Like that's what he said. That we told him to say that. Just keep throwing it.
You got to believe in your players. You got to, you got to keep giving him. He's a professional. He knows what he's doing. He's not. It's not like he's old and washed up. Like, he can do it, man. Just.
He can do it. He did it. He did it. Look at
Give him
him.
one more
He did
shot. Give him a couple more shots. Heck, just keep doing it.
Yeah.
And even, maybe we should bring him back next year just to prove that we really do
Calm down,
believe in
Thomas.
him.
Are we
Calm
done
down,
with the bit now?
Timothy.
Are we done with the bit now? Are we done with the bit
Calm
now?
down, Timothy.
Are we
Yeah.
done with the bit now?
You cannot
So,
convince me otherwise.
here's the
This
deal.
is my truth, and I'm standing on it.
So here's the deal. It's been a rough year, but we've talked about the Sammy Watkins nature of MBS. He didn't have a great year last year. Matter of fact, I know some people forget this, but there was a large chunk of this fan base that was ready to ship him out of town last season until the AFC Championship game, and then everybody was like, well, he can stay because he went bananas in the AFC title game. Then we go to this year. He's not around much. Well, no, he's around the whole time, but he's not around much during the regular season as far as production is concerned. And then he shows back up in the playoffs again. Whether it's injury, whether it's invisibility, Sammy Watkins, MVS, invisible and non-existent in the regular season, full-blown big play production, and daggers. Not just big plays, dagger plays.
Yeah.
He's got 2 now because he did it in the AFC Championship game last year. He had a big catch for a dagger play.
Yeah.
Like you said, he's reliable, man.
I don't know who was happier for him to make that play, him or Mahomes, because the Inside the NFL mic'd up audio clip of Patrick from that play Patrick is going absolutely bananas. Just
Well, he also
going
might. I mean,
nuts.
that was also the play that sent you to the Super Bowl. So I mean, you're just happy.
I understand that, but you have to
But also,
know that he knows that they all know how much of an issue it's been this year. They all know MVS has been getting asked questions at his locker that he's making the reporter actually ask him what question he wants to ask him instead of veil it in a thinly worded way. Like, it's been one of those years for them, for that wide receiver room. So, yeah, man, when it finally happens, when he does what he's paid to do, hey, guys, those, 6 catches over the last 2 years worth that $11 million the last couple of years? Because I'd say so at this
I
point.
guess. I mean, it's not my money, so hey, here you go. You know.
Hey, man.
I would just say, I said it on last week's.
They don't ask how, they ask how many. And that's
I said it on last week's podcast, and it really resonates. Like, hey, it doesn't matter what me and Tom thought about MVS, which was nothing but positive, of course. It was nothing but positive.
Yeah, all positive, completely.
Literally, all that matters was that his teammates still had confidence and trust in him and faith in him, and Pat still had faith in him, and obviously that showed. So shout out to MVS, because behind the scenes, he was obviously putting in work to still have that faith and trust in everybody. There's probably some certain other receivers who might not have shown that same thing behind the scenes, that might have lost the faith and trust of some people. So shout out to MVS for not crumbling and stepping up when he needed to. And, he acknowledged it even early in the season, like he has to get better, and he did. So that's shout out to him.
Herm Edwards could have helped our other receiver a little bit with don't press send, or in his case, don't go live.
We ain't got to worry about him, though. Let's hop over to the bread and butter of this game, though, the real masterclass that needs to be talked about, which was
my nipples are going to get hard.
Yeah, like we mentioned in the intro, this particular unit of this particular side of the football happened to hold Lamar Jackson and one of the top scoring offenses to a measly 10 points throughout the entire game. And that was all led and driven by one Mr. Steve Spagnuolo. Just absolute dominance from him on Sunday. We said it, the Ravens were really deviated from their game plan, and it wasn't just all on their own. It wasn't just a coincidence. Spagnuolo came to play. He knew what he was doing. It was amazing. It was an awesome defensive performance from the guys out there. It was great.
I have a similar concern regarding Spagnuolo and like that of Trey Smith. Has any of you seen him? Because I'm almost certain that some of the stuff that he did on Sunday violated the Geneva Conventions, like the Geneva Code. Like that was not. It was beautiful, but oh man, ow, ow.
If you thought we talked for a little while about the offense, good Lord, wait till we get in. This one's a lot bit of a long episode, guys.
Buckle up.
We realize it. It's going to be a long one because we're
going to the freaking Super Bowl, so you guys can roll with us on this recap.
You got some time before the next next game to listen. Yeah,
it's just like Pat Mahomes on that third down to MVS. We're going long, boys.
Yeah, I'm throwing it up real high to get there too.
Yeah,
real high.
So like I said, Spags versus Monken over there. It was, let's say, it's safe to say that one guy definitely had his number. Dan Orlovsky actually pointed out a real great kind of tidbit about the defense, in which they played 6 different personnel packages. The defense did.
As far as the DBs and the rotations were concerned, they were in 6 different and 6 different packages. They were rotating different groupings. The thing that was most indicative and most determinative in this game was how Spags dictated to the offense what they wanted to do, which we talked about a little bit. But traditionally, the offense does stuff, and then the defense adjusts to the offense, and then that's how the game works. Mm-hmm. Not this game, at least not for Baltimore. Kansas City came out and basically said, "You're not gonna run it. I really wish you would try to throw it. Please throw it."
Yeah. Just throw
It was the we're not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with us moment.
Mm-hmm.
And it was. And here's the thing. We talk about the depth of this team, but it's not just the depth. It's having these guys ready. Deion Bush gets a game-sealing interception, and we talked about this last week. He's the
4th, 5th, 6th safety. 4th.
Well, let's see. We start the season. Brian Cook is out.
Justin Reed, Shamari Connor. Najee Johnson still existed at the beginning of the year.
Johnson existed.
It's like he's safety 4. I mean,
Mike Edwards. No, Mike Edwards is Deion Bush was the 6th safety
5th
on
or
that
6th
list.
safety at list. Yeah.
Right. And this man's coming in and playing significant ball in the playoffs.
And not just significant football, and also not just these guys being ready. They're ready to play defenses they've never practiced before. And it's happened consecutive games in a row now where they have come out of a game and said, yeah, at halftime or at some point during the game, Spags said, we're going to try a bunch of shit we've never done before. You guys ready? Okay, good. Let's go.
He's got a little wheel. He's just all right, Deion, Shamari, you're in. And they're like, what? Yep, you're gonna play defensive tackle this round.
Okay, and I'm glad you just said that because he had Justin Reed playing middle linebacker and Nick Bolton playing out on the edge in coverage at points during this game, and I am not joking, and it wasn't an accident. They did that on purpose.
Legit. Through so many different looks at him. It was crazy.
It's been how many years that I have been talking about Spags getting his defense, and then we get to finally see what it is. I didn't think it was going to be this season. I've said that all year. I thought we were a year away just because of the youth. We're not a year away, guys. He has his guys. This is it. He can do whatever he wants, and anytime he wants, at any point in time he wants. They ran. I've watched this game all 22 a couple of times now. They ran 4-2-5. They ran 3-3-5. They ran a 4-1-6. They ran. I swear on they ran a 4-1-6, Tom, in an NFL game, and I went, "What the are we? What is happening? What
is that? Even 11 players?"
I had to count it twice to make sure, and I know how to do. I was like, "What? Who's missing? Where's? Oh no! Wait a minute.
One back.
He's over there. He's over. All right." And man, like I said, and it wasn't just the secondary. It was the D line. Guys were all over the place. They had Leo. Leo can play defensive end if he wants to. Okay,
Leo can play whatever he wants to play. Yeah.
Before we started this episode, we were talking about Leo. We did a little deep dive into his background, and like I said, he is an impressive athlete.
It's his brain.
On top of that, scary dude, and may just live for football, like
destroying tackles on run plays. Because
and he's come and so we've talked. I think we talked about Georgia's step as a player to year 2. Shadal's also taken a step, and not. I don't think I would call it as big because he's been more of a part of a rotation. But even in the playoffs with Willie out, like he is pulling his weight, and that has been huge. Can't understate that because, like I said, the Ravens come in this game thinking, okay, we're gonna be able to pass because their best pass coverage, linebacker is out. Bad news, bud. Bad news, Bears.
Unfortunately, Drew Tranquil is basically the same guy as Willie in pass coverage, so that sucks for you guys.
Well, yes and no. Drew is
not as athletic, just as good in coverage.
I'll say Drew is good in coverage because he knows exactly where to be. Willie is a freak athlete.
100%. I 100% did not say he was the same athlete as Willie. I said he's as good in coverage. There are different reasons they're as good as each other in coverage.
That's fair.
But he's as good in coverage.
Maybe even better. Maybe even Yeah.
Sometimes if you're thinking faster than the other person's feet are working, then you're gonna get there a little quicker. Anyway,
That's a big advantage.
It is what it is. It is what it is on that front. But Tom's 100% right. Leo, look, man, they're deep across the board at all levels, and now they're gonna need it. And it sucks on the defensive line because we found out that Charles Omenihu tore his ACL in that game.
Yeah, that's a big bummer.
It's a big blow. It's not at all what we wanted. I feel so bad for that dude because he's been nothing but good for this team since he's gotten here after all the other things.
Yeah, I love Charles Omenihu. I have loved that kid since
he's made it hellaciously clear that this was the game that he's been here for and he wants to play in, and the whole reason he came here was to play in Super Bowls, and to have that happen right 2 weeks, like the game before.
And it would be against his former team too. Like, man, come on, you know.
Football is a cruel mistress, but hopefully we can put a ring on his finger.
I want him to. The podcast already tweeted out on his handle.
Yeah,
we love that the kingdom loves him, and we hope he heals soon. But legitimately, man, he's been one of my favorite guys to watch this year. He's been unreal on the field since he's been there. He's been constantly doing the things that they needed to do. He had the big strip sack on Lamar in this game. We wish him all the best and on a quick and speedy recovery, and hope it's nothing but the best. And then we hope he gets to maybe hang out in Kansas City for a little while.
Yeah, hopefully they bring him back. But I mean, he's one of the biggest reasons that the Chiefs are at this point right now. So yeah, definitely a huge shout out to him and speedy recovery. Hopefully, it's definitely tough for anyone to get injured right before playing in the Super Bowl. Like, that just sucks, and especially for this D line, obviously losing a guy like that who had a sack on Lamar in the game, who has been one of the most productive defensive linemen in the league.
The strip sack,
yeah, it's gonna be a little bit of a task replacing him in the Super Bowl. And we'll get into that in our Super Bowl previews and whatnot. But
real quick, because on the same note of Charles, just to we can talk about the player. Certified good guy as well, like the Peacock thing.
Really good guy, yeah.
When it was the playoff game with Miami, but also, and then because I was Googling when it happened, I was just kind of doing some research. I know a lot of times people give donations to players' charities, and I was just thinking about something like that. And one of the things that I looked up was, and this flew under the radar, I think, for that same. I don't think it might have been the Dolphins game. But there was a family of a breast cancer survivor or somebody who had just recently been diagnosed with breast cancer that got to go to one of the playoff games, because who picked up the tab on that and invited them and wanted them to play or wanted them to go to the game. Obviously a Chiefs fan. His mom is a breast cancer survivor, and he talked about just like using his platform to do good and like. He's embraced being in Kansas City. I think everywhere he's gone, like he's a good dude, and it sucks to have it happen to a quarterback but to a player who is a good player. But it also it's not much worse when he's so likable as a guy and who's been we're counting down the days for him to get back to playing after the suspension and
dealing with all that. Yeah. And look. None of that stuff's good. We also still don't fully know all the details of that, so we're still not qualified to speak on that and won't speak on that. But very likable dude, done all the right things since he's been around and back with us. And as Tom mentioned, man, it's just frustrating and heartbreaking to see, especially when guys, they work so hard for this stuff.
Yeah.
So it's tough.
It's a big loss, but to the D line's credit and the rest of the defense's credit, they really stepped up the rest of the game. In his absence,
and we have to talk about Chris Jones, because I think we talked about it last week when everybody was like, he didn't have enough counting stats and he didn't do anything. He didn't have any counting stats this week either, really.
He was here.
He did plenty, just
he
like
was
he
there.
did last week.
He was there for sure.
He was a massive effect on this game. He was everything you wanted him to be and more at large chunks. He's dominating in the trenches in there. He gives you the versatility across there. He allows everybody to get one-on-one matchups. did not have an answer for him. There's a clip of Chris Jones taking the left guard and just removing him from in front of, like, just walking him straight backwards out.
I'm
Bye.
just I'm just gonna move you right over here.
What I'm supposed to get to is behind you, and you're in my way, and I'm gonna have to move you now and just deposit him elsewhere. Like nothing happened. He trips Lamar up a couple of times when he's gonna run out of the pocket. They were crushing the pocket. They weren't outside their rush lanes. They did what they were supposed to. They weren't always trying to get loose and get Lamar. They were trying to, as we talked about with Josh Allen even a little bit, and how similar it would be. They actually did a better job with Lamar than they did with Josh Allen.
They actually really did. Yeah. Lamar didn't have as many those scrambles that even Josh Allen had.
Part of that is because they know Lamar does not like getting hit as much as Josh Allen likes the contact. Lamar would rather slide.
Yeah.
Lamar will get the 4 or the 5 yards, slide, and move on. The problem is, it's the playoffs.
That was one of the biggest differences I noticed, especially with like some of Lamar. Like Lamar had a couple of those where he was running and then he kind of just went down early.
Hits? You remember when he used to take the crazy, stupid hits from running in like week 4, and everybody's like, "You can't do that in the regular season. It's gonna get you killed, and they need you in the playoffs." Yeah.
Now he doesn't do any of that.
Hey, Lamar, it's the playoffs. You can take those now. You should.
Yeah, I hate to say it. I think it did kind of seem like Lamar lost a little bit of a step as far as his explosiveness from what we saw earlier on in the year. There's a couple plays that I think 2019 Lamar might have housed him.
Drew saved the touchdown.
Drew saved that one.
I'm not gonna lie. The Marcus Mariota flashback PTSD.
Exactly, the old pass to yourself, which was
my God,
another huge fluke.
As soon as I saw that ball hit Justin Reed's hands and it went up in the air, I was like, oh no.
That was.
Oh no, because I saw it go up, and then you see 2 heads go up, and one's Justin Reed and one's Lamar Jackson, and Lamar's behind Justin, and Justin can't see him. So I'm like, I know where this is going. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Why are we? And then he catches it, and he gets like 2 steps. I'm like, oh, he's gonna be gone because he's fast.
Yeah, Drew caught him
still, and Drew just grabbed just the foot, and I was like, oh
yeah.
Ooh.
But it definitely seemed like it, and kind of similar to the past couple playoff games. But it seemed like the defense's attitude and effort and physicality definitely outperforms the Ravens' offenses.
Tom, are you here? Disappeared.
Whoa! Did my greens? Whoa! I'm here.
Okay.
I was listening.
I know. That's why I was asking, because I was like, well, I think he's here, but he's vanished, and now it's just showing your arm and not your head.
Yeah.
So
I am here, folks.
We're
gonna fix this, but
the reason that I asked that question is because I thought you were going to talk there for a minute, and then I didn't see you on the screen, so I wasn't sure what was happening.
Listen, if you've stayed this long, I wanted to show you a magic trick. So, no, I got distracted. I was watching a Tommy Townsend punt. So and now I'm completely distracted. What, Kyle? Remind me what you were going to ask me, or you were going to say?
Oh no, I was talking about. Started to chime in. You started to chime in there.
I did, and then you were like, "Oh, look, you're gone." And I was like, "No, I was in a complete panic." I thought, "Oh gosh, do they know that I'm not wearing pants right now? Like, what's happening?" So, anyways, defense good.
Defense was very good. Yeah,
we were talking about Drew Tranquil saving the Marcus Mariota touchdown.
Oh,
PTSD.
right, yeah, the PTSD and just of that Marcus Mariota. I just wish that would have been an interception. But
yeah, for real. Overall, though, I'd say the defense did a really good job of containing Lamar Jackson. Definitely did not let him get. I mean, just the attention to detail of really, there was a couple times that obviously that's spying him. There's a couple double spy situations that they would just rush like 3 guys and have 2 guys basically just back there spying him, just playing contain.
He had 8 carries for 54 yards, and I don't think.
I mean, he's gonna.
I don't think
there's
one
that
of those
one
was
big.
designed.
Yeah, there's that one big 20-yard one on the 4th down. So, and Lamar's a really good athlete. So he's going to get his, we all knew that he was going to get a couple big ones like that. You're going to have a deep shot to Zay Flowers after escaping a sack. You're going to get some of those. Like
He got Zay twice.
Yeah. So we want to talk about that. That one of the biggest.
I mean, it's the last kind of thing on the defense as the secondary. We talked about the D line and the linebackers and the job they did. They basically eliminated. We've kind of touched on it, but just to give you guys the full overview here, the Baltimore Ravens had a total of 16 carries for 81 yards. Again, 54 of those were Lamar Jackson on 8 carries. Gus Edwards had 3 carries for 20 yards, but one of them was 15 yards on a long. So there's that. Zay Flowers had 2 carries for 4 yards. That would be their wide receiver. And Justice Hill, the other running back, had 3 carries for 3 yards. So, yeah. They just didn't let them run the ball. So then you go, well, what happened? What happened in the secondary? Well, they got 2 big plays to Zay Flowers and 1 big play to Nelson Aguilar, and that was it. And I mean that literally. Zay Flowers had 5 catches for 115 yards. One of them was a 54-yard catch, which was the ball that L'Jarius tackled him on. That then led to what we'll get into in a minute. The other one was the touchdown. The other one was the touchdown in the first on their second drive of the game. On that,
which fluky,
blown play.
But blown play,
That leaves 3 catches for roughly 25 yards after that. Because those two.
If there's one thing that this Chiefs defense is really good at, and we've seen, especially playing against the Dolphins and the Bills, they're really good at limiting explosive plays. You're going to get a couple a game, but
the 1 for 39.
Many.
Yeah, the 1 for 39 to Nelson Aguilar was the Justice Hill leg whip on Chris Jones play that they didn't call tripping for 15 yards and a safety.
There you go. Yeah, wouldn't have even happened.
Drive. That's that drive that 1 for 39 took place on. And then they completely shut them down. Look, that secondary was lights out. So I've got snap counts here. One L'Jarius Sneed played 58 of 58 snaps for 100% of the defensive snaps. By the way, the Ravens only had 58 plays. I just want to, for contrast, the Chiefs' offensive line played 81 plays in this game. And
the Chiefs also won the time of possession battle by
a lot.
It's funny because that's always like the game plan that people say to limit the Chiefs, but that was kind of almost the Chiefs' plan a little bit this game, especially in the second half. It would definitely seem like, hey, let's take control of this time of possession battle here and let the defense just keep doing their thing.
They won it by a full quarter, 15 complete minutes, 37-30 to 22-30, 15 flat minutes of time of possession win. So, like I said, L'Jarius had 100% of the snaps. Justin Reed was on the field for all but 1 snap. Trent McDuffie was on the field for all but 1 snap. Mike Edwards played 93% and up until he got really tired, and I think they checked him for a head concussion, but yet was back out on the field like 2 plays later.
Next drive I think he came back out. Yeah, he was good.
Hey, you're good? Yep. All right, good.
Turk Wharton was also very crampy or tired. I'm not sure which at one point on that same drive.
There's a couple of those long drives that the Ravens ended up having that they got a little winded on, but
I bring the snap counts up because I think these are going to surprise you a little. Mike Edwards was at 93. Chris Jones played 84% of the snaps. That was a much more snap heavy.
A lot more than last week, yeah.
Correct. A lot different than last week. George Karlaftis coming in with 81% of the snaps, 47. There's your starting edge, boys and girls.
Well, yeah, he's been a starting edge, yeah.
Yeah, but that's the guy going forward.
Yeah,
also.
I mean, he's the guy that's going to be
one of the pieces,
the anchor on that D line. Yeah.
Mike Dana, another good day. Another good day for Mike Dana.
he's the guy you're going to build around.
Yeah.
If I
But
told
we
you the
talked
next,
about that in the offseason.
if I told you the next defensive lineman after Mike Dano, who would you think it would be?
Malik Harris. Mike Pinnell.
Hold on, let me.
I just said his name.
Malik Herring. Again.
Leo Chenal as a defensive lineman.
Justin Reed.
Got winded on the long drives.
Oh, Turk Wharton.
Correct.
I thought he was first.
Turk Wharton
Said him
played.
first.
Turk Wharton played 37 snaps at 64% of the snaps. That's big time. He played really well.
Turk Wharton.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dog Turk Wharton.
And he played extremely well. Again, for them. He's a big reason why we haven't felt the Derek Nottie loss as much as we could have. Also, shout out to our favorite journeyman defensive lineman who shows up every so often in a Chiefs jersey, who is
Mike
now
Pinnell.
back in a Chiefs jersey, Mike Pinnell.
The beast.
He had 20 snaps.
Oh, you can't make that reference. Sorry.
Yeah, easy. Problems with the wrestling world. Anyway, but yeah, the step up wise, Deion Bush had 3 snaps, and in those 3 snaps, one of them was a pick. So
yeah, that's pretty good. I'd say that's pretty good.
That's what you're looking for. And your secondary was completely in control. Shamari Connor played 25 snaps as well.
Yeah. So speaking of the secondary, L'Jarius Sneed.
Yeah.
L'Jarius Sneed.
Let's get to the mistakes for Baltimore because there was a lot of them. Because this is the mistake portion.
L'Jarius Sneed.
And it's
Can we just talk about how, for a moment, L'Jarius Sneed harnessed the pure, raw, unfiltered energy of Dirty Dan Sorensen.
Literally.
At the goal line.
Literally.
And
That was
that ball.
Yeah, that was the turning point of the game for me, in my opinion. That entire sequence was
soul-crushing.
I mean, seeing that play live. So we're talking about L'Jarius Sneed forcing the fumble on Zay Flowers at the goal line. Seeing that play live, it's funny because like Lamar drops back and he has so much time and he just dumps it off to Zay Flowers. You're like, well, that was an easy touchdown for him. And then you see the ball come out and you're like, wait, did he really fumble it? And then that first replay that they show, the slow-mo of Sneed punching it out midair, a half yard before the goal line. I mean, that was
the broadcast angle on the initial angle. I had no idea. I had no clue.
Yeah, no idea. And then the first replay, you see that and you're like, oh my god! Like,
but I think
Sneed
you said the most important part, the sequence.
Maybe one of the best defensive plays of the game
of the year.
Except I think we made a better one 2 or 3 plays before it to make them have to run those plays to try to get that touchdown. Because if he doesn't stop Zay Flowers before that on the deep ball that gets them down there on the tackle, and then has Zay Flowers taunt him because he couldn't help himself. And by the way, that's as pure of a dictionary definition of the word taunting as you're ever going to get.
Yeah, like, people were very upset about that. It's like, bro, like, hey, I want.
He got up, stood over him, threw the ball at him.
And
like,
if you want to argue that wasn't when he pushes him back down, done.
That is. So like,
the push almost even because L'Jarius is kind of holding onto his leg a little bit. So the push you could have probably got away with if you just do that and you walk away.
Not when you threw the ball at him and stood over him.
But when you're standing over him for a long time and flexing on him, like, hey, we should make this very clear. Taunting is okay. We like taunting. I think any normal football fan would like taunting.
There's levels to it,
but here's the thing. The NFL has rules against taunting. Sorry, we don't make the rules. That is what the rules are. And you're just very, very clearly breaking the rules by doing something like that. Like, hey, sorry, Joe Burrow, but you're not in the game. You're not even in the playoffs, so you don't.
I'm fine with taunting, but also when you throw the ball at someone, that's not taunting.
Yeah.
Like,
or
that's
down,
cleared. That's cleared taunting at that point. Taunting is celebrating or talking to him or yapping. That's taunting. throwing something, shoving someone,
Yeah, it's just
pushing someone,
unsportsmanlike
contact.
at that point, you know.
That's not taunting. So
Mhm.
even if you didn't like the taunting call, it's still an unsportsmanlike contact because he threw the ball at him on the ground.
Yeah, and so that
So-
sets them back 15 yards from that big game. Obviously, they had to run a couple other plays after that. Zay Flowers actually has a pass that he gets most of that back anyways, but it's 3-4 plays later, and obviously that in turn
And
leads
Legarius
the
talked about
forced
it.
fumble.
And Legarius talked about it. He had to be told that the dude taunted him.
Yeah,
to
he didn't
begin
even
with.
see it, which is funny. Like you can actually see in the replay, he doesn't even see Flowers taunting him. He just gets up and walks away. Because hey, one of those things, been there, done that before. You have a big play given up on you, which it wasn't even his fault necessarily. It was kind of just a blown coverage.
It was a weird play, but it happened.
Yeah.
And then he makes the play, he makes the tackle, but then he
You
gets
just get up.
made aware that he taunts him, and he's like, "Oh, all right then. You thought you was gonna. All right, let's taunt me then." Then he makes the extra effort at the goal line and knocks the ball out at a half yard.
Yeah.
And what did we say? Was it the Buffalo game? Right at the goal line. Don't reach. Don't reach.
Don't reach.
Boys and girls, if you are ever in the situation where you are
Came
about to
all the
score
way
a touchdown
around, full
in
circle.
a professional NFL football game where
Two
you
hands.
could send your team to the Super Bowl,
Two hands.
and you are at the goal line,
Don't reach.
They might have even had two hands on it. I
and
think it
it's
was just
not
that.
fourth down,
It was just that
Don't
well
reach.
punch, you know. The
just
punch
don't
was just
do
so
not
perfect.
reach.
100%. If it is not fourth down, don't reach. Just
Don't reach.
do it.
Don't reach. Don't
Yeah.
reach. It's like the
Also,
draft. Don't reach.
On that play, we have to give credit to Trent McDuffie because Trent, I thought, was going to dive with him at Zay on the tackle, and if Trent dives with him, that ball
Yeah.
doesn't get recovered
That's
by
true.
us, most likely. So he stops, he waits, he sees the ball come out, and he wins the race to the ball on the ground after Legarius. So there's your two big-time Pro Bowl corner, or All-Pro corners who, well, one was an All-Pro, one definitely, obviously, should have been. That make another
Zay
giant
Flowers did have
play,
two hands on that ball too. It just he got punched out.
and
perfect.
so that's just the complete
Crazy.
and total all-encompassing of this defense, especially the secondary throughout this season. It gave you everything. They made the plays in coverage. They made the plays on the goal line. But the main thing that they did was they tackled in the run game. And if they tackle in the run game, Baltimore can't run outside. And that is why we saw some of the things we did with the other pieces of Baltimore's run game that they typically use that they really didn't use much because they couldn't.
Yeah. It was a great performance by the defense and the entire team, and that's why one team ended up the victor and the other team is going home.
We got to talk about the mistakes, and I mean all the mistakes.
Yeah, there was a lot of mistakes,
and the Baltimore mistakes mostly here because we can start with the pregame.
Yeah, Justin Tucker.
Buddy.
Know your role and shut your mouth.
You may
and
be
warm
the
up
best.
on the right side of the field.
You may be the best kicker ever. That's great. Do you know what the best kicker is to most of the rest of the NFL players? A cab
Still
driver.
just a kicker.
Homie, you're a kicker.
You're just a
Like,
kicker. Yeah, get out of the way.
I guarantee you your defense would have much preferred you to not piss off the two
not
best
poke the
players
bear.
on the planet
Yeah.
before kickoff. And by the way, coming out after the game and pretending that what happened there was normal on your behalf and that you were somehow attacked or people were taking it too seriously.
Well, I've been doing this for 12 years. What do you mean? I've been saying it
hilarious.
for 12 years.
And I love the fact that if you guys haven't seen it or heard it today, Patrick talked about that with Carrington on 610. He's only ever had that happen a couple of times, and it's always in Baltimore. Guess what?
Yeah.
There's only been one kicker in Baltimore since Patrick's been the quarterback in Kansas City. It's one guy. So, Justin, move your helmet. Don't let the face of the league step in a helmet doing a warm-up because you're trying to be a head games clown. Then you poke the bear. So all that, you poke the bear, all that, that's fine. That's gamesmanship, mind games. That's fun stuff, right? Yeah. Then you get to the mistakes in the game.
People are way too overreactive about that, by the way. Like,
Of
people
course.
who are legitimate, like,
Of course.
Pat and Travis are pissed. It's like,
bullies. They're
have
bullies.
you ever played a sport? If you think
they
that,
were mad.
like,
They were mad. They didn't like
Well,
it.
and
Travis was
the
very
way
much
Pat
so
said
about
it
it.
yeah,
was
but
like,
it's like, come on,
they
you
were
know,
kinda
you're
used to it,
soft for
and
even thinking
then-
that's soft.
Yeah, but it was like I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first playoff matchup between these two teams.
I think so.
Specifically,
Because they
they
both
played
were
some pretty big regular season games, and I think that it was an important message to send. Like, this is business, and we're not playing this game like regular season. Yeah, sure.
We ain't here to
But
make friends.
That was the FAFO moment for him, for Justin,
Correct.
and he's still paying for it. Like, it's a little bit of like, hey man, you know.
Well,
You can try to defend it, you know, after the fact, but let's be honest.
And Patrick said this. It's not about the helmet or do you doing the stretches. It's about the respect, and that's where. Look, y'all can make the Jordan comparisons all you want. That's a thing for him. That's a thing for him. The respect thing. Travis is mad because he doesn't want his quarterback getting hurt, and he's being and Justin Tucker's playing games and being disrespectful. Patrick is mad because you're being disrespectful. He's not worried. He was going to, as he said in the interview, I was going to let it go. And then Travis was like, nah, and launched his stuff. And then he put it back down, and I was not going to let him put it back down at that point because there's a respect because you didn't watch Harrison Butker kicking at the goal line in their middle of their warm-ups at 45 minutes to go.
You actually see him in the background on the sideline of that video.
If you want to kick on the other end of the field, you do it in the portion of the warm-ups where it's an open field, not that point in the warm-ups. You know what he was doing. So he knew what he was doing. That's fine. As we just talked about, FAFO. But to the people that are, they're bullying him. No, they're not. Shut up.
Yeah,
to the people that
you're
were,
soft thinking
that. They're absolutely furious. No, they're not furious, but they're not happy. And I don't know that I would have tried to aggravate those two any more than they already are. So go for it.
Yeah, I mean, even Pat McAfee came out and had his take on it too. And like,
Pat was like,
yeah, he was like, hey, this happened when Adam Vinatieri was with them. And guess what? If someone asked him to move, you move. Stuff. You just move. Because
it's not that hard. Move it 2 feet away.
Exactly.
You watch Tucker. He walks over, he moves the helmet like 2 inches and acts like he moved it, and then goes back to being smug and sitting down and stretch. Bro.
Well, yeah, and he just like he lines his helmet and the ball's at the goal line, and then just goes like and stretches like 10 yards away. It's like you're not even, you know.
So
it's like, come
again.
And him trying to play the victim of it all is really like the icing on the cake.
That's
like,
the part. That's the part.
Like you might as well just say like, hey, I was trying to get in their head, you know, like don't be a little wimp about it.
For me, the rest of that is fine. But the part of after where you come out and try to play like you're somehow, bro, if you don't, you knew what you did and then you got caught and you got bounced for it. Stop acting like you didn't know. Okay. Then you guys come out into the game and you're out of control. And I mean out of control.
Tempers
the headbutt from Kyle Van Noy, the punch to the face.
Yeah, there was a clothesline from hell.
There was a punch to Patrick's face, and I mean he punched him in the face.
I went back and I did watch that. I will say this: I don't think that was as intentional. Hold on, I'm not defending, but listen, and again, at least on the broadcast replay, because at first I was like, "Come on, man, you can't." Like, that's not 100% a penalty, because if Chris Jones got called for the little love tap a couple years ago on Tom Brady, then yes.
He punched him in the face.
Hold on. It looked to me like he was going for the ball, right? I don't think that it was intentional to hit him in the face, mostly because that's a stupid thing to do. But
I'm glad you have the ability to act like you have, or to give the benefit of the doubt to someone like that. That dude looked at where the ball was, looked at where Pat was, loaded up the left arm, and swung it directly into his mouth.
He just swung his arm.
Maybe I need to go watch it again.
I'm surprised he wasn't ejected. I'll be 100% honest with you, because I'll tell you right now, if Chris Jones would have done that to Tom Brady a couple years ago, they'd have thrown Chris Jones in jail. They wouldn't have kicked him out of the game. He'd have been arrested on the field, on site. There's no, and by the way, even if it wasn't on purpose,
I mean, still a penalty. Yeah,
100% a penalty.
You put your whole fist through his mask and knocked him back.
Yeah, so there was
No.
that moment. There was the
Kyle Van
Davion
Noy.
Clowney. Well, yeah, you said the
The
Kyle Van
Van
Noy.
Noy annoyed me more than the Fate hairs, because at least with that, there's like some plausible deniability. The headbutt is just you being that hothead.
Yeah,
And Van Noy's been around long enough; he should know better.
But he ran his mouth, and then they were getting embarrassed. And so when he ran his mouth on Monday on Kay Adams' show, when he was talking all the stuff he was talking, then it comes to Sunday, and things don't go the way you said they were going to go, and now you're mad, and now you're upset, and now you're hurting your team because you just headbutted Travis while he walked away and laughed at you.
Yeah, life is hard.
Cool.
Then
Garrett's getting ready to get to the next part
where the Davion Clowney hit, which that one honestly should have been closer to an injection, if anything. I mean, come on, bro.
Another frustration penalty.
That's a textbook lowering the crown of your helmet penalty right there. It's like,
yeah,
sure was. And then you follow those up with Zay's fumble at the goal line.
Yep.
And the subsequent, I'm gonna go over to the bench because I'm mad and punch it and and lacerate my hand.
Like,
so that I can't play the game anymore.
Bonehead move.
That didn't go so well.
Composure, you know.
And then you've got all that going on. You've got
they
every
fell apart
piece
down
of
the
that.
stretch.
Yeah.
Well, hold on.
And
we didn't even talk about Arthur Millette, who decided that he was going to try to pick a fight with the entire secondary in the pregame, and then got torched by MVS for the game winner.
For real. Yeah. He had a serious case of FAFO.
You got beat by the one guy who hasn't beat anybody all year, and he beat you.
Well,
like
hold on. No, that is
and caught the ball.
Loyalty. MVS, you're talking about unwavering
Sammy
support.
Watkins Light.
Unwavering support.
Sammy Watkins Light. Yes, that's who we're talking about.
I had support for Sammy the entire.
I know you did. It's easier to support a guy when he's injured versus just invisible. I get that.
And when he's a Lizard King.
That too.
Yeah,
and we
there's some entertainment value.
And we discovered.
Listen, he has to sunbathe a little while, get the photosynthesis going.
Tom, I don't know if you weren't around for this, but we figured out that Garrett is also a lizard because that's the same temperature profile he likes to live in.
I relate to Sammy.
Lizards.
I relate to Sammy a lot. I like Sammy a lot.
Garrett, did you just apply the lizards photosynthesize?
Yeah.
I mean, it's something to think about for sure. It's something to think about, you know. What if they did?
Do you know
chlorophyll?
I know you know what lizards are. You live with them in the desert, and yes, they do like the sun.
Sunbathe. I said that part. Yeah.
That is not.
What happened? What's wrong?
That is not photosynthesis.
I mean, it could be though. Like maybe not in like the actual definition of like, but like you go outside.
Way off the rails.
Think about time. You go outside, you sunbathe, and you sit there and you're like, man, this sun feels good. I had energy because of this sun feeling so good. That's what the lizard be doing.
You know, that is just about. That actually may be more agreeable than Justin Tucker's explanation of his behavior in warm-ups. So I can't take it away from you. I just
all right.
It's a lizard thing. You wouldn't really understand. You know, it's part of the
reptilian. You know what? That's fair. Maybe
reptilian solar viewing. Reptilian
maybe
solar
Justin Tucker should spend some more time in the sun.
Yeah.
So to finish out the Baltimore mistake section, the Lamar prayer ball into Not only was it a bad throw, also Isaiah Likely or whoever, I think it was Isaiah Likely. You cannot put your hand up in triple coverage, sir. What?
Yeah. Open. Oh, never mind.
No.
It's like when you're playing Madden and you hit the wrong button.
You're like, yeah, no, God, son of a. Well,
just like,
and like,
I meant to hit square.
But it goes to the point that we Garrett talked about earlier, and we brought up, and we led the show with, and that the experience level in the moments that mattered at the beginning of the game, before the game, at the beginning of the game, coming out with the proper energy level, pumped but not overexcited, pumped but not out of control. Control down the stretches. not panicked, not under pressure. You know how much pressure was in that building when it was 7-0, and then it was 14-7, and then it was fumble, and then it was, we can't move the ball.
Even before the game started, if you think about the pressure, like Baltimore brought every single legendary historical figure ever to step in foot of Baltimore,
including a guy who has a ring with the Chiefs, which was
they just randomly cut the lights off after a drive, and he got introduced like halfway through the third quarter.
Out, and I'm like,
what? It's like, all right, yeah, rally, yeah, but it didn't quite work.
At the end of the game, he was probably standing on our sideline talking to a bunch of the guys he played with a few years ago. Like,
Ray Lewis runs him out of the tunnel. Like, come on, bro. Have some identity for your own team.
Man. That was the first playoff game they've hosted since they were the Baltimore Colts. Yo, bring whoever you want that's a franchise legend. You do you. I don't blame y'all. Because we did that when we hosted one. We had celebrity after former player.
Yeah, we had a lot, but we didn't have like Derek Johnson leading the boys out the tunnel, Like, come on.
Hey, man,
let Lamar lead them out the tunnel,
I don't disagree with you there. But at the same time, they don't have an identity like that there because they haven't won anything yet. And
that's it. Hey, listen, bring out as many celebrities as you want. It's just more souls to take. So more dreams to crush.
Hey, man, they're the villains now. We've talked about it. We've done it. We've gone through the whole stuff. This team is full-blown villain mode. They enjoy it. They like it. If you guys don't think they like it, they're making T-shirts. Am I saying things that sound familiar to stuff that used to drive us functionally insane about another franchise that used to do some of this stuff?
Yeah.
Does it sound familiar? Because I remember Julian Edelman making some really dumb T-shirts for a while, and I remember I remember retirement stories about Bill, and I remember all this goofy, stupid that we're dealing with now. That never in our wildest dreams exist. We're the supervillains, and now he's 2-0 on the road, and there's no contemporaries left. There's nobody left. Oh, Burrow. No, not even him. Sorry.
Well, he's gonna make it through a full season more than once.
Again, not even him. Sorry. No, nobody's left. There's nobody left in this current, and it's just something that this fan base. Y'all better get the raincoats and the armor and the gear ready because the GOAT debates and the Mahomes conversation, they're not going to get less tired of him anytime soon, boys and girls. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
The rest of the world is not going to get less Mahomes fatigue anytime between now and the end of his career. Promise.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That all said, the post game. Oh man, that was fun. Is it more fun?
That was a fun post game.
I gotta ask you guys. For you guys, is it more fun in Arrowhead? Now, I've been in the building for an AFC Championship game. Unfortunately, it was one we lost, so that didn't feel so good. Oof. That Bengals game sucked because it looked like it was going to be a cruise show, and then it fell apart fast. But I've also been in the building when they've won one. More enjoyable for them stealing the hearts of an entire city in the city or doing it in Arrowhead? Because I'll give you my answer, but I want to hear your guys' first.
I think you still want to do it in Arrowhead, ideally.
I would rather do it at home, but there is something
get the confetti cannons going.
In this, like I said, we're in the villain era, so and we haven't done it yet. So it's like you just kind of want to mess around, might just mess around and win a couple championships in somebody else's stadium. Yeah, I feel like I would love to get the Bengals back for them getting one in our stadium. I would say winning an AFC championship in Buffalo's stadium would be fun, but that just feels mean at this point. Let's just leave that kid. I don't know. Stephon Diggs will not.
He'll just keep kicking your ass in the divisional round, and you'll never have to worry about losing one of those in your AFC in your home building, and it's not a problem. Well, see, we're just helping you out, Buffalo. It's fine.
Yeah, it's really a mercy. It's more of a mercy slush than anything else. So,
it's already hard enough to live in Buffalo, judging by all the weather you guys seem to suffer from up there. So,
yeah, definitely.
Sure, we're worried about you though.
Yeah, definitely was a fun post game to watch though. One of the more fun things was obviously seeing Travis Kelce down the field with all his family,
That may have been my favorite part of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Of the whole post game. No, legitimately, I don't know if how many of you guys have got to see him. Taylor was down there with the family as just one of the family. And in the clips down on the field, she's not out there trying to walk around like she knows what she's doing or knows where she's going. She's literally telling her security guards and her people that are following her, that are keeping the throng of paparazzi that were only there to chase her around in circles, away from them, that she's just doing whatever Donna's doing because she doesn't know what's going on. She's just following along and going through like the most generic, wholesome thing. Like, look, man, they legitimately care about each other, and there's now NFL Films audio apparently of an "I love you" or some stuff, and like, it's like, great, good for them, man.
Yeah.
I'm happy for them. And they, like we talked about, you can't have a better run than that dude has had in the last
he's having a real good time.
It doesn't get much better. The only way it gets better is winning in 2 weeks. That's the only way.
Seeing that interaction was awesome. The interaction with him and Jason Kelsey was really cool as well. When they hugged it out.
That was amazing.
Jason told him to go finish that thing because he's the best, and that was it was really cool. It was a real cool scene afterwards. There was one of my favorite parts of every AFC Championship post game is seeing Pat Mahomes Sr. smoking on that pack. You know, always good to see him thriving.
That man is a unique human, and
he sure is. Yeah, he is a character. But it was cool. It was definitely cool to see the Chiefs raise the Lamar Hunt Trophy once again. It's always really cool to see that trophy being raised, especially this year. Losing Norma Hunt. Having the patches on the jersey and kind of dedicating the season to her. So that was really cool to see everybody up there really celebrating her and the Chiefs organization for bringing the Lamar Hunt Trophy back. And now, there's one more step to go.
We just had to bring it with us in the briefcase and then take it back home with us when we left. We never really did anything but just walk back out the door with it, but it's fine. If you guys haven't, if you're not on Twitter, I understand, but it's a really good resource for things like Chiefs locker room footage from reporters and things of that nature. We have some very good reporters for the Chiefs. We're very lucky. Aaron Ladd has a bunch. Harold Kuntz has a bunch of sideline videos from and locker room footage of these guys from this game, of their responses, of their stories. Go consume all of it. Consume every bit of it you can. I did want to touch on a couple of the interviews that took place. One of them, though, because it was Brett Veach, there was some stuff that we already thought we knew that then he said out loud. So that was interesting, I think, somewhat, that they tried to go get up in the draft to get a receiver and do some different things there on that front, and maybe tried to address it in free agency, but it just didn't quite break the way they wanted. And it's not... I know that we go through these years and everybody throughout the year, we do the whole, oh my God, this is broken. Oh my God, how did they not see this? Oh my God, they did see it. He just couldn't do anything about it. Sometimes you can't, there's just not anything you can do. And guess what? It didn't matter anyway, because when it mattered, all those guys that are still in that room made the plays they needed to make. And now they're in a Super Bowl. So enjoy every bit of this, guys. This is not supposed to happen. We have been to 6 consecutive AFC Championship games. We have been to 4 of the last 5 Super Bowls. Your starting quarterback is third all time in wins ever for quarterbacks in the postseason.
For 430.
And it's 6 years starting.
And I know we've just passed the hour and a half mark, so if you've stuck with us this long, we're going to wrap soon.
Yeah, we'll wrap it here soon.
Just to put a bow on what Kyle said, I think sometimes we lose that historical context because we literally just got done watching Tom Brady, who is the most successful quarterback of all time to date, and now you have probably the closest thing that's going to come to him. And we may not, and that's where it's like you have to enjoy it. And first of all, enjoy it.
He's already passed him on the talent.
Yeah, and again, we can. That's a whole other conversation. But to say,
That'll be a
like,
conversation this offseason
yeah,
for sure.
Mahomes
Especially
is
if we
pacing
get this
him,
next game done.
and
forever.
and the fact that they even almost like there was some overlap and that kind of thing. I think it makes the context like, oh yeah, this is just kind of normal. This is not normal. And I think that's what Kyle says, like, hey, really drink this in, because every minute that we have Patrick Mahomes on this team is going to be special. Every minute that we have Travis Kelce on this team is special. Those two are once in a lifetime players, and they will, and that goes for Andy Reid too, who, you know, has, and even Steve Spagnuolo, all those guys, all four of those guys, in my opinion, belong in Canton. That's another conversation. But
for another day,
yeah, enjoy it, because you don't have this much talent
definitely
around.
Enjoy what we're seeing. This is a very unique experience that we're witnessing here. And yeah, it felt very surreal this season, especially, you know, as soon as you get that long past the MVS, it's like, oh, we're going to the Super Bowl. Oh wow, that's it. We just did it, and we got to definitely enjoy it. So
little karma involved in this season, huh?
A little bit, yeah. There definitely was a little bit of karma. So thank you all so much for tuning into this episode. If you're still listening this long, we do appreciate you. We're gonna have a lot more content these next 2 weeks here coming before the Super Bowl. We're gonna have some special guests on. We're gonna do some cool things, Super Bowl previews and whatnot. But definitely gonna be a fun time. Definitely glad we don't have to tune into the Pro Bowl this weekend, because that's just
not even a game anymore, as a matter of fact.
So we don't even have to pay attention to it because our guys aren't in it. They're preparing for a Super Bowl. Chase Kingdom, we appreciate you. Be sure to check us out on all of our social media at Kingdom Says Pod. Check out our YouTube, check out social Spotify, Apple Music, all that stuff. And we will see you guys in the next episode of the Kingdom